It was an oppressively hot Friday morning in late July when Samuel Brooks pulled into the gravel lot of the Red Hollow County Sheriff's Office. Dust kicked up behind his old, sun-bleached pickup truck as he stepped out, the air thick with humidity and the low hum of cicadas. He paused for a moment, taking in the building, a plain, two-story brick structure with rust on the steel handrails and a fading American flag swaying in the breeze. It looked like any other small-town precinct in the South. Unassuming, ordinary, but beneath that exterior, Samuel knew something rotten festered. Samuel didn't wear a uniform that day. He wore an old gray hoodie, the sleeves pushed up to his elbows. His cargo pants were wrinkled, and his boots, scuffed and dirt-stained, had seen better days. His salt and pepper beard was left untrimmed, and a faded baseball cap shadowed his eyes. He looked like someone you'd pass on the side of the road without a second glance. And that was exactly what he wanted, because Samuel Brooks hadn't come for a parade or a welcome speech or handshakes from men who'd been cleaning their records in anticipation of his arrival. He had come for the truth. And you can't see the truth when people are pretending. Red Hollow had a history, and not the kind that made it into the local paper. There were whispers about excessive force, about people being pulled over for the color of their skin, about reports that vanished and complaints that never made it to the chief's desk. The former sheriff had retired abruptly, leaving behind a legacy that nobody dared speak of out loud. Samuel had read the files. He'd heard the stories. He'd seen this before, just not from behind the sheriff's desk. Until now, as he stepped through the front door, the smell of old coffee and sweat hit him first. The front desk was unmanned. A young deputy sat with his boots up on a chair, leaning back lazily while scrolling through his phone. He looked up briefly as Samuel entered, then smirked. "Lobby's closed, man. Whatever you're looking for, try City Hall," the deputy said, barely glancing at him again. Samuel gave a small nod and continued walking, as if he hadn't heard him. Another officer, older, stockier, emerged from a side room, holding a half-eaten donut. His eyes narrowed at the sight of Samuel walking freely through the department. "Hey, you can't just wander around in here. This ain't no shelter." Samuel stopped, but said nothing. The younger deputy stood up now, his posture shifting from lazy to confrontational. "You hard of hearing, or just stupid?" he asked, stepping closer. "I said get the hell out of here." And then it happened. A third officer, tall, loud, and obviously trying to impress the others, swaggered over. His face twisted into a sneer. "Figures," he said, eyeing Samuel from head to toe. "They just let anybody walk in here these days." He spit on the floor near Samuel's boots. The room chuckled. The atmosphere turned tense, electric, a cruel amusement thick in the air. Samuel didn't flinch. Instead, he reached slowly into the inside pocket of his hoodie. For a brief moment, all three officers stiffened, hands twitching toward their belts. But Samuel wasn't reaching for a weapon. He pulled out a leather badge holder, opened it, and raised it without a word. The smirking stopped. The badge gleamed under the fluorescent lights. Beneath it, a laminated ID with an official seal and a signature in blue ink. Sheriff Samuel Brooks, Red Hollow County, sworn in July 21st. The silence was deafening. One of the deputies instinctively stood straighter. The older one looked away. The loud one's smirk dissolved into confusion, then dread. Samuel's voice was calm, low, and unshakable. "Is this how you greet the sheriff of your department?" he asked, scanning each face with steady eyes. "Because if it is, we're going to have a long conversation." No one answered. The tension thickened like storm clouds gathering on the horizon. Samuel let the silence sit, let them stew in it. Then he closed the badge holder, slipped it back into his hoodie, and stepped further into the building. "I'll be in my office in 10 minutes, he said over his shoulder. "Anyone who thinks they still work here better be standing at attention when I get there." He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. Behind him, 3 officers stood frozen, their faces pale, their futures uncertain. Because Samuel Brooks hadn't just walked into that building. He had walked into a system, broken, corroded, and used to hiding its rust behind polite smiles and tight circles. And now, that system had been caught with its mask off,